What's going on, everyone? We hope you had a great trading day today, but even if you didn't, that's all right. We still have one more day left for the week, and I have a feeling it's going to be a pretty good one. So looking at the market today, 83% of stocks in the S&P 500 closed up in the green, and the rebound just continues. In today's video, we're going to talk about how over the past 7 trading days, we have seen the largest reversal in history, as well as what this means for the market and what to watch going forward. We have a lot to talk about today. We have one more trading day left for the week, and we're starting to see some stocks that have really been stuck in the mud for months now start to really break out. So we have a lot of great stuff today, so make sure to stick with us all the way until the end. But besides that, Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, the market's actually been doing very well in the short term. The SPY did very well today, moving up 1.7%. Mike, that heat map was especially green today, and there's been a lot of good momentum here in the market. You know, even the chip stocks like NVIDIA have been marching higher this week. I know that yesterday from open, it wasn't very exciting, but if we actually scroll back like to the beginning of the week, I mean, look at this move that NVIDIA's actually had. If we actually look at the percentage gain pretty much from pre-market Monday to the high of today, it's up 16.79% just this week. So overall, we've been seeing a fantastic move in the stock market. And whenever I look at the SPY, that is awesome. But whenever you see a heat map that's this green, and you know we've been seeing this all week long, that sentiment is changing really quickly, right, Mike? I know just a couple weeks ago, people were expecting a huge crash to start happening. You know, people were talking about recession and etc. They still are, but nonetheless, the market's been ripping back and kind of proving its strength here in 2024 like it has all year long.
Seriously, and just like you said, just about like a week to 2 weeks ago, we had people on CNBC calling for an emergency Fed rate cut as the market was sinking lower, and now here we are, and everything's rallying back up. So let's talk about this a little bit more in depth. As you can see on this chart, it basically shows the history of the volatility index spikes and how long it takes on average for the volatility index to, I guess you could say, revert to the mean. Basically, last week, we saw one of the biggest increases in the volatility index that we've seen in a long time. To be a little bit more specific, over like the past week to 2 weeks, the volatility index reached levels only seen since the COVID crash and the Great Recession of 2009. I know that's kind of crazy to think about, but it really goes to show you how much panic there really was in the market. But anyways, going back to that volatility index spikes chart, we can see that it normally takes on average around 170 days to, I guess you could say, return to normal, while for this year, it only took 7 trading days to return to normal. Going deeper into these statistics, we could see that just on a close over close basis, what we saw this year was the largest percent decline ever seen for the volatility index. And what's really cool about the data here is that we can see on average going forward, the market tends to have a pretty positive reaction from this, not only in the short term, but also, and I would say even more especially so in the long term.
Yeah, and you know, I know that whenever you talk about the stock market and, you know, you start getting to like a 5-year basis, you know, usually you start to see some pretty good returns over that time, but especially in the short term, it's good to see that these averages are looking pretty positive, right? And I know that this is definitely a big decline on the VIX, and it just goes to show how quickly traders can flip, right? I know that the volatility index was going crazy last week, a couple weeks ago, obviously, and looking at it now, I mean, I can't believe how quick it came down, but I didn't realize that it was that significant. Like, this was the biggest decrease ever, right? That is a very interesting thing to look at. And whenever I look at the VIX, Mike, there has been some people that have been playing puts on this to the downside. Personally, I'll keep looking at VIX in the short term, and I'll be like keeping my eyes on this whole Middle East situation. If we do start to see that pop off some more, I will look at UVXY potentially in the short term back to the upside. But then again, you know, we do need to see some better news and some real action to start to happen.
The key thing to take from this going forward is that you have to be willing to adapt. In the same way, there was a bunch of money to be made trading stocks to the downside 2 weeks ago, and there was a lot of money to be made trading stocks to the upside over this past week. Those who are adapting are those who are doing the best in this market. Those who are only bullish definitely take some big hits when the market inevitably pulls back, and you could definitely say the same thing for those who are only bearish. They're just feeling the heat a lot more. But what's especially worth noting is that the market this year has been very, what I'll call like flip-floppy. Like, you could see that 1 week everyone's super bearish and calling for emergency Fed rate cuts, which is an extremely bold statement to make, where the next week everyone's buying the dip and calling for new all-time highs. So it's like you have to be able to adjust to the flows. And of course, it's impossible to do this perfectly 100% of the time, but that's why having good fundamental trading habits and respecting stop losses makes it so that even if you are wrong sometimes, or inevitably when you're wrong sometimes, those losses can be kept as small as possible. Whereas when you're right, you let the trades run a little bit longer so that the winning trades can outweigh the losing ones. But yeah, it's been a crazy past couple weeks, and I'm especially excited for tomorrow as we're finally starting to see some of these growth-related stocks start to pop off. As we've been talking about over the past couple of videos, stocks like PayPal, you could say even Chewy, SE, Robinhood, Shopify, and others are stocks that have been doing fine, some more than others over like the past couple of years or so. But when you compare them to, like, let's say big tech stocks like Nvidia or Google or Microsoft, they're definitely getting left in the dust, you can say. But what's really cool is that when we look at stocks like Robinhood or Square or PayPal right now, they're finally starting to gain some good momentum and getting close to like multi-month breakouts, which is very exciting.
Yeah, and I know we actually had a recent big money play on PayPal as well from July 14th. And, they didn't catch the bottom directly, right? And, does the big money always catch the direct bottom? No, but there was some volatility, and we ended up seeing a nice pop today. It's actually approaching its highs again on that 55 strike call. It's up around 80% from where they entered. So that'll be pretty big there looking at that going forward. And Mike, I got to give you credit. You called out PayPal a lot over the past week or so, and we've been seeing some great moves. I know we talked about this one last night, and we saw a great breakout today. There was definitely a lot of opportunity to the upside with this stock today and many other of these growth stocks. Robinhood's another one that this morning really popped off. I know it closed up 4.8%, but pretty much from the closing price yesterday to the high today, it was up 7.37%. That's a pretty huge pop. I know that some of that was pre-market, but it's just great to see this price action. And guys, let us know in the comments which stocks you traded today, because I know there was a plethora of profits in the Discord today as well.
Big time. But the main thing to keep in mind is watch these growth stocks going forward. Not just the growth stocks we listed, but other ones that you might have on your own watch list, because we're starting to see the flows shift a little bit, where these stocks that haven't had as much love as the big tech stocks are starting to move higher. So definitely keep them on watch. But talking a little bit more about the market for tomorrow, we're pretty much clear in terms of earnings and the economic schedule. We can see that for the economic schedule, the only thing we really have is like building permits and then Michigan consumer sentiment, but realistically, these events aren't going to be all that important. And then for the earnings calendar, we are all free and clear. So I'm pretty excited, because this will mean that we don't have to really wait for like any major inflation report or anything crazy like that. The market will mainly move just based off of good old price action and momentum. So with that being said, let's get into some setups and predictions. I know I've been talking about this stock for like at least 2 or 3 videos now, but the stock is trending in a strong way. So my first stock on watch is PayPal, and it is still to the upside. This stock is continuing to move higher, and the upward momentum is only getting stronger. I will say this though, there are some pretty serious resistance levels overhead, especially closer to that like $68 level and the $68.50 level. So be aware of these levels for tomorrow. But again, this stock is getting a lot of good inflows right now, and the price action has been really great. So it's definitely still on my bullish radar.
Yeah, I love it in the short term. These stocks like PayPal and etc. are doing fantastic, and why not continue to watch it? I really love the daily chart, and we've tested this resistance up here with PayPal plenty of times around 68 to 70. So maybe we'll see a big push this week. You know, if SPY continues on this pattern and we keep making new highs and keep pushing above the previous high of days with such velocity like we have, I would not be surprised to see more of a breakout coming in. But with my first play, I'm actually looking at a different growth stock, which is DraftKings. And we haven't looked at this one in a little while, but looking at them on the daily chart, they've recently taken a tumble, right? They've actually had a pretty good 2024 until this big downtrend started to happen. So they're bouncing off key support around 30. They're starting to come back, and if they can break resistance here right around $34.50 and $35, I will keep watching them up. And you can look at this on the book map. $35 is a major resistance here in the short term, but there's not really too much in between 35 and 40. So if we do end up breaking 35, I'll be watching for a push towards 38 and then $40 overhead. And I really like looking at the book map here for some of these targets, Mike. Like, you can really see 40 there pretty clear overhead.
Big time. So keep a close eye on that level. Bookmap definitely makes it pretty clear that there's a lot of sellers sitting there. So keep that on watch. But another stock I'm watching pretty closely is Disney, and it is to the upside. This stock has had a wild year where it had some really good up moves, but it has also been selling off pretty consistently over the past couple months. It bounced off the $85 support in a great way, and it's starting to get some pretty good price action come into play here. I think the stock is a little bit oversold, and when you pair that with the fact that not only the market is moving higher, but Disney itself is moving in a, I guess you could say, powerful, respectable way, then I think this makes for a good reward to risk skew to the upside going forward. So Disney will definitely be on my bullish radar for tomorrow as well.
Yeah, the stock's on fire today, 2.89%. I like Disney for the long term, and I like getting in at some of these lower levels that it's presenting here. But overall, you know, Disney has a lot of work to do to keep recovering. But in the short term, this is looking pretty good, Mike. I'll definitely keep watching it for the next couple days. And with my next play, I'm looking at UAL. And, you know, we might be mentioning UAL a little bit later. We might not. We'll see. But there is a pretty big resistance here right around 43.20 today. That's pretty much right at the high of day. So there was also a lot of bounces right around 43. But if we end up breaking above 43.20, I'm going to keep looking for a breakout on UAL. Some of these airlines had some crazy moves too.
Yeah, and like Tom hinted at, keep UAL in mind because we might talk about this later in the video. We'll see. But good stuff there, Tom, with UAL. But besides that, we are all clear for today's momentum plays. And with today's first one, we have OXY to the upside.
Yeah, Oxy has a pretty clear resistance here in the short term from the past couple days. If they can break out above $58, then watch them up.
Sounds great. With the next one, we have Citigroup also to the upside.
Yeah, you know, the buyers came into everything today pretty much, Mike, even the banks. So if Citigroup can end up breaking 61 right at the high of day, then watch them up as well.
All right, and then with the last one, we have QQQ in both directions.
Yeah, the NASDAQ is doing great, and it's right at an awesome resistance at 475 even. So if we see a good push tomorrow and the market keeps ripping like it did today, watch for a breakout above 475. That'll be pretty big. Now, if we wake up and, you know, the market's gapping down a little bit and it breaks under 470, then start to watch it back down. That was actually a pretty good support today. We saw a good bounce off 470, so I would assume that there'd be some buyers stacked up there for tomorrow.
Sounds good. So we have the downside level for a potential move lower, and then we have the upside level for a potential move higher. This is with QQQ, but also keep the levels for C and OXY in mind as well, as those are also momentum plays. The stronger and more consistent these stocks move, the better and stronger the setups become. And if they don't break the levels listed, then do not force the trades. But those are today's momentum plays. So let's jump right into today's $300,000 big money trade. And we are looking at ticker symbol UAL. So looking at UAL for today, the big money bought the 40 strike call options that expire on December 20th of 2024. While this isn't the biggest big money trade ever, it is pretty interesting in the sense that these call options are already decently in the money, and they have a good amount of time to them, which are both really good qualities to have. When you have an option that is in the money, like this one, given it's the 40 strike, and the stock is already at $42 or above $42 a share, that means that these options have a pretty good chance of expiring in the money, and there's not really a good reason for anyone to short these, especially when you look at the expiration, which is all the way out until December 20th. When you look at UAL's chart, you can see that it has recently bottomed out around that $40 support level, as well as like the $37 support level. On top of that, the stock is towards the bottom end of its range, and the market is showing a lot of strength right now in like all industries. Like we said in the beginning of today's video, 83% of stocks in the S&P 500 closed up in the green today. So basically, that shows you there is a lot of buying going on, no matter where you look. And this helps a trade like this one. But overall, looking at this big money trade, I definitely like the reward to risk. And again, even though it's not the craziest and biggest big money trade ever, I do think it's one at least worth keeping on your watch list.
Yeah, and one thing to also keep in mind is that this one does also have 4 months worth of time. And don't get me wrong, I love UAL in the short term. I called it out as one of my plays today, for a nice breakout above 43.20. But I really do think that with the big money with this one, they're probably going to hold for a little while, Mike. And I think that that's actually a really good way to go here. If we continue to hold this $40 support and this stock starts to truly recover back up, these 40 strike calls will do like fantastic if UAL would run up to test like $48 to $50 over the next few months or couple months. These would be great, but then again, you do just have to give it some time. It is out to December. I doubt the big money is going to be getting out like this week or anything. So, like I said, I do love UAL for tomorrow as well, but if you're going to follow the big money, you got to give it a little bit of time.
As always, right? But as we look at the market overall right now, we're at a very interesting point, and it's an important time to be strategic and smart with your trading habits. And I know we say this all the time, but it's just that important. But the main thing to keep in mind is that in the same way about, you could say, 1 to 2 weeks ago, where everything was falling off a cliff and people were panicking and super bearish, a week went by and now everyone's super bullish again. So don't underestimate how quick the market sentiment as a whole can flip, because the sentiment has a very big impact, not only on just, you could say, the way in which stocks move, but I guess you could say, whole market in general. Like, again, looking at today's heat map, we are seeing widespread buying right now, whereas couple weeks ago, we were seeing the exact opposite. So stuff like this is very important, and it's even more important to adapt and change with the flows and the market as as good traders do. So definitely keep that in mind. But we also want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, which is DJ Pearl Jam in the Stocked Up trading floor. They had 2 SM bot plays today, 15 minutes in and out, and they posted some awesome profits with ticker symbol ASTS and NVIDIA call options. So awesome job there, DJ Pearl Jam, and keep on rolling. It's awesome to see screenshots like this one. But if you guys are into short-term trading, definitely check out that first link in the description in the comments down below to get access to SM Bot, just like DJ Pearl Jam used today. Some of the best SM Bot plays today were with ASTS and then SMCI. That definitely lit up the leaderboard with SM Bot today, as some of these options popped up by 644%. So it was a pretty explosive day. So if you want in, it'll be that first link in the description in the comments down below. You also get access to our hybrid bot, surge bot, weekly live events, big money trades, and everything you can need for short-term trading. But if you are new to the channel, consider demolishing that subscribe button to get our videos recommended to you more often. It takes us hours to make these videos, and when you subscribe, you'll see them recommended to you more often. Besides that, we have one more day left to the trading week, so let's make it a great one.